What makes music sound nostalgic? What makes anything nostalgic? To me, it is the feeling of having a time and place in your memory, in your mind and spirit that you cannot return to in the physical realm. It's the feeling of not being able to return home. Musically, home is often thought of as the root of our key or scale. In the key of B flat major, the note B flat would be our most resolved note. And the chord, B flat major, would be our most resolved chord. This is our musical home's address, B flat. To generate some nostalgia, we'll first need a melody. This melody will be the memory of the time and place that we cannot return to. It will be a clear image of B flat major. We'll start by simply descending through the first three notes of the B flat major scale, starting on D with a grace note, and then C, and then landing on B flat, home. Very simple and almost nursery rhyme-like. Then, we'll answer the question that this first part of the melody poses by dipping down to G, the sixth note of the B flat major scale, and importantly, the next note down in the B flat major pentatonic scale. Then we'll come back up to B flat, back to home, and then leave it unresolved on C, the second degree of the B flat major scale. Now we'll duplicate these two bars so that the question repeats once more. But the second answer will differ by offering a full illustration of the B flat major sound, going from the 1, B flat, to C, the 2, and then landing on the 3, D. This really hammers home the B flat triad, the B flat major triad sound. Now we've got a pure B flat major melody, and even though we are getting a bit of mood from the reverb, harmonically there is no nostalgia. It's a pretty on-the-nose major kind of sound. Here's where it gets interesting. This B flat major melody is home. It is our memory of home, and our mind's eye, the feeling of home, vague images of home. But nostalgia is that place that we return to in our minds that we can't return to in physical reality. For the sake of our exploration, our physical reality is our chords. This means that we can have this memory of B flat major, our melody, but our chords, our harmony, cannot go to B flat major because B flat major is in the past. So where do we go? Let's go to the 2 chord, C minor. And we'll make it C minor 9, so it has C, E flat, G, B flat, and D. And then we'll move to D minor 7, the 3 chord, which has D, F, A, and C. And we'll voice them so that the third of each chord, E flat and F, are repositioned up an octave. And for C minor 9, we'll double the 5th, G, up an octave. And we'll put this progression into rhythm by making C minor 9 extend for an additional 2 beats, leaving only beats 3 and 4 in the second bar for D minor 7. Now we are looking at B flat major through a pane of glass, our C minor 9 and D minor 7 chords. We'll hear it with our melody in a moment, but first, let's make this glass even thinner. Let's make the nostalgia even more intense by making it feel like we might be able to go back home. We will taunt our sense of nostalgia by inserting B flat, the main tone of our key of home, B flat major. In our C minor 9 chord, B flat is already present. It is the flat 7th or minor 7th. By emphasizing B flat, we are situating it in a different harmonic time and place. Not the 1, but now the flat 7. This makes it so that we are still longing for the satisfaction or resolution of B flat, even though it is hitting our ears. But when we get to D minor 7, introducing B flat gets interesting. From a theoretical point of view, the introduction of B flat turns D minor 7 into B flat major 9. It may not seem like it at first glance, but the tidiest way to construct this set of notes in terms of a traditional label is for B flat to be the lowest note, the root, then D, the major 3rd, then F, the 5th, then A, the major 7th, and then C, the 9th. But we cannot go to a B flat chord. Before B flat came into the picture, this was D minor 7. To maintain D as the root, we'll take our B flat major 9 chord and invert it. An inversion is simply when a chord has a note other than its root as its lowest note. We want D as the lowest note, so we'll move B flat up an octave. Now D, the major 3rd, is the lowest note. When the 3rd of a chord is the bottom note, it's called first inversion. Here's a question for the comments section. What would the inversion be called if C, the 9th, was the lowest note? There's a discussion to be had there. Okay, our original D minor 7 chord differs in one way. F was not down here, it was up here. Now we have our B flat major 9 in first inversion. But to be completely honest with you, that is not how I would actually think of this chord. I would simply call it D minor 7, and I am compelling the memory of B flat into this chord. This is a perfect example of how theory can help organize your thoughts, because any worthwhile craft or artistic discipline will have some kind of labyrinthian quality. That is where the transformation might occur. But music theory knows nothing of the poetry of the ear, of hearing, of listening. When diving deep, we need both, the theoretical and the poetic, the rich duality of music. Let's look at the memory of home, the B flat major melody through the fogging pane of glass that is our chords, the harmony that never quite brings us fully to B flat major, but dances around it the way our memory does the dance of nostalgia around past places and times in our mind's eyes. To dive deeper into these kinds of ideas and approaches and learn how to bring them into your music, check out my Chords That Vibe course bundle. And if you want a full toolkit that gives you instant access to these kinds of chords, drum patterns, bass lines, and melodies, then check out Vible Volume 1. You'll find all the links below. And if you get bogged down in the past, remember to shake it off, stay in the moment, and groove.